Welcome, everybody, to our Fireside chat for February 2019, where we cover all questions asked from January of 2019. This is our very first episode. We appreciate you guys stopping in to take a listen. This is going to be a bit of a new segment we're going to try, an attempt at a second podcast, if you will. The concept is quite simple. Basically, you submit any and all questions possible either to our Facebook page, facebook.com/losersofinitiative, or to our email, losersofinitiative@gmail.com, and we will answer any and all questions. The questions can vary from things like what would have happened within the campaign, why didn't this happen, what would have happened here and there. It can vary all the way down to things like what our favorite foods are, what we like to watch before we go to sleep, what radio station do we listen to. The only real factors is we will not answer any controversial questions, and we will not answer any super-duper personal questions.
I don't want people showing up at my house.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
I'm relatively okay with, like, city, but address, probably not so much. Anyways, so if you have any questions, you can feel free to submit them. We encourage and hope to get as much as we can from questions from you guys, and the more questions we get, the longer these will become. So initially, it's going to be pretty short episodes, but we're hoping eventually it becomes a pretty long episode, and we answer a lot of questions and really fill your brains with useless knowledge that we have that now you can now have.
That's right. The more you play with it, the longer it'll get.
Yeah. So what's
wow? It's not a phrase that you should say.
I'm with the podcast. That's what I'm talking about.
Anyways, we've also decided to make this episode free. As you can see, it's on Podbean. But if you are a patron on our Patreon page, patreon.com/losersofinitiative, we really, really, really would like to thank you and appreciate all your support. If you're not, this episode is free, but they will be coming out monthly for only $3 at the current tier. We can't make up our minds, so it may change. But for now, that's where we're sitting.
Sounds like us.
We don't have any questions because obviously this is our first episode, so we made up some questions. Woo-hoo! A lot of useful, useless information.
Such great questions.
And again, this would be covering from January 1st to January 31st. So, I forgot to mention. This is how good I am at this. I'm giving Brad a break, so I'm hosting this. That's, Brad can be out of the spotlight for a little bit. But I do have with me Brad, as you've heard, in the background. And, of course, Nate, as usual.
Hey, guys.
The three primary losers of Losers of Initiative. Hey, guys, really? That's what you're going to go with?
That's his thing.
Yeah,
that's
the only thing.
I'm waiting for an ocular pat down.
All right. So, my first question is let's do a little setup here. So, obviously, if you're listening and you're up to speed, we just finished the Boot Hill finale. I personally want to give Brad a round of applause.
Yay.
Quite the good Boot Hill finale. I thought the story was great, and it wrapped up quite well. But there were some plot holes.
Yes.
And that's where the questions are going to come out from me, some, and probably not so much Nate. All right.
No, mine's all random questions.
Let's fill them in.
So my first question, and this one is obviously for Brad, from insert name here if a real person submits it.
Okay.
Right now we'll say Greg at Super Big Feet.
Or Tiny Shed.
Or Tiny Shed at yahoo.com. Anyways. My first question is when we first got to Boot Hill, in the very first episode of Boot Hill, 13 or whatever it was, we ran into some gentlemen. When we exited the train, we saw men with very big stovetop hats, and we noticed them, and they started to
come at you.
Yeah, they came at us. They didn't really pursue us. I mean, we kind of ducked into a crowd and disappeared, but we never saw those guys again. My question is, obviously, who were they? What were they there? What were they doing? Along those lines.
All right. As I write campaigns, I include a lot of stuff that if the characters pursue that avenue, we flesh it out. Otherwise, it's if the characters choose to not do a certain thing or go a certain way, then that sort of angle or avenue of the story just kind of, unless it's super pertinent, will just get pushed aside. Those guys, as you found out at the end of the campaign, these are spoiler alerts, by the way.
You should be up to speed if you're listening to this.
Spoiler alert if you haven't listened to the earlier episodes. But at the end of the Boot Hill adventure, it was apparent that there were chemicals being shipped in and arrived in from all over the world
right.
to Promise City that were being collected and picked up by Legrand. Legrand.
Legrand, yep.
And his associates. And those guys were basically Pinkerton detectives looking into the unusual amounts of deliveries and whatnot. And they had just finished talking to the soldiers and the guys that were about the holdup, that the train had been held up. And then they knew that the bandits that held up the train went away. And one of the soldiers that were defending the train had told those guys that your party had helped in,
chasing off,
etc. Your actions that you did.
Okay.
And they were basically coming to question you about said things.
So they weren't necessarily bad guys.
Right. They were basically just neutral. They were there to kind of put you in the right direction.
Put you. Choo-choo. All right,
Put you in the right direction if you didn't know a direction, kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they were just sort of an extra. They weren't really super relevant to the story.
They scared the crap out of me, I'll tell you that much.
Well, they were supposed to be intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
All right.
So there you go.
All right, thank you to insert name here for that question. Our next question is from Big Bubblegum Chewer 202276. I'm not making this up.
Wow.
You can clearly tell that this is planned. So we're going to cover a question now about how we met. Brad, myself, Greg, and Nate. Obviously, we've known each other for a long time. Nate, why don't you kind of start wherever you want to in the history of everything. And let's give a brief, where we met, how we met, what happened, what we like to do, besides naked parties on Saturday nights. And, go ahead, Nate.
Okay, I'm going to start off with me and Greg because that was the longest relationship so far.
Hey-yo.
And so we met, junior year of high school?
Yeah, I think it was late sophomore, early junior year of high school. Yeah.
Yep. Me and my girlfriend at the time had a double date with Greg and his girlfriend at the time. And
Actually, both not around now. Actually. That's kind of ironic. I never thought about that.
And so we just kind of hit it off and started just playing Halo and Need for Speed Underground. We'd set up TVs right next to each other and playing the games nonstop. And
I actually very specifically remember a Halo 2 LAN party where we put like 4 or 5 or 6 TVs and all the Xboxes in your basement at one point and tried to play nonstop for 24 hours. We did not succeed.
We were falling asleep.
We did not succeed.
Everyone running into corners and stuff because we were still playing.
Yeah.
But
so Nate and I go back years, and I mean, that's 14 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Something
anyways, gross like that.
And then we started getting into, actually, ironically, I met Brad working at McDonald's in 2009. So when you listen to this, it could be however many years later, but currently 10 years ago. And I don't know, went over to Brad's house and started hitting it off.
We played Rock Band, I think.
And then we worked together long enough, and he's like, you should try D&D. And I was like, all right. And then I needed a party, so I asked Nate, and Nate had never played. So
that's when I met Brad.
And then Brad and Nate met, and then we just played D&D a buttload, and here we are.
Because I was running a game.
Yeah, another game.
Right, and I was like, you know what, Greg, you'd probably like this.
Yeah.
So I invited him over to kind of play with us.
So we kind of go way back. We know a lot about each other. We've played a lot of games together, both video and tabletop. So it just kind of seemed like a good fit to try and do a podcast.
10 years I've known you guys. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Long time. All right. Our next question is from Jimmy John's Jimmy John.
That's horrible.
2777742.
They should get a new email address.
They should. I don't make these up. They're clear.
I mean, what about like 123 Mockingbird Lane?
Oh, easy. No addresses, Nate.
Is that the Munsters?
No addresses.
It is.
All right.
No, it's not. I don't know what the Munsters is.
This next question,
Mockingbird.
This next question is from me to Brad again.
Oh, okay. Hey.
And it's also about the Boot Hill campaign.
All right.
So, off podcast, we got to discussing one night about just different events that had been occurring midway. And one of the things that came up was Benny, or Neeb, within the Boot Hill world, and how they had taken him and stuff. And I got to thinking, what do these people, Legrand, now that we know, or
Garrett Stone,
or what the heck was it, Daughtry?
Colonel Daughtry.
Do they know of Benny being Neeb? Like, did they know that his body was basically possessed, for lack of a better term, from someone from a different world?
And you're asking that because what makes you think that?
It just seemed odd to me. I don't know, just the reason that they stole him, and just, I mean, obviously now we know, being through it all, that why they took him. But
Gotcha.
and then in future episodes, who's to say what's to happen? But it's kind of interesting to know, like, would that exist in a future?
I see where you're going.
All
right. Well, I'll address all of those angles. So no, I mean, as far as you could tell, I mean, no. The reason they took Benny specifically was because he was the son of Legrand's wife, who was basically patient zero with this virus, this blood disease. And so they figured, hey, we'll take her son, since we can't take her because she's basically immobile. You pick her up, her arm will fall off or something. So they took her son, most direct DNA connection, so hopefully, the best results from the experiment. It just so happened that was also Neeb. Just like,
coincidence.
It's any good plot in a story. The main characters are the ones that wind up getting kidnapped or, et cetera, et cetera. That sort of got your motivation up, the fact that it was Neeb. If it was just some other kid, yeah, you'd still do it, but the motivation wouldn't be as intense. The desire to succeed wouldn't be as relevant. Now, as far as could they see him as Neeb instead of Benny? Because like when your characters look at each other, they see when Honkwe looks at Oren Deadmond, he doesn't see Oren Deadmond, he sees Ovak.
Right.
And when Ovak looks at, or when Oren Deadmond looks at Honkwe, he doesn't see Honkwe, he sees Grug. But everybody else sees you guys as Honkwe and Oren. Okay? So you see each other as you really are, but everybody else sees you as the bodies that you're inhabiting. So is it possible that someone in the realm that you go to could see you as Ovak the dwarf as opposed to Oren? Could they see through that? Could they see who you really are as opposed to the body you're possessing? That is a possibility. I'm not going to say no to that, but
you probably just thought of it right now. Damn it.
As far as you guys have experienced, that hasn't happened. No one knows about you. No one apparently knew that you were from another place. But because as we go further on and the story develops more and more, the powers that are behind the whole thing will become aware of your meddling in the different realms, and so you may see some intervention later on. But I'm not going to say where, I'm not going to say when, and I'm not going to say how.
Well, that'll be for a future episode, I guess.
Next jump,
yeah.
No, well, maybe
the next little question, I guess, or whatever, is a would you rather game we came up with. We'll keep our answers short and sweet. Brad, mostly looking at you.
I don't keep anything short and sweet. Well, sweet.
Okay.
I keep lots of stuff short. I can't help it. Genetics.
So the would you rather. So we kind of came up with this fun one. We're obviously all gamers, play tabletop games, and we obviously have jobs. So the question is, if you had to go for what did we decide? A month? Or no, forever. I think it was forever.
Yeah, forever.
If you had to go forever without having any gaming consoles whatsoever, so no Xbox, PlayStation, PC, any of that stuff, or you had to go without having a car, and you couldn't ride, I think we discussed couldn't ride in a car.
Right.
You in no way, shape, or form could you be involved.
Motorized transportation is off limits, but you can have PC
it was
or
all
console.
Motorized. Okay.
Yeah, no car, no bus, no motorcycle.
I was thinking no car, but you could still ride the bus.
Nope.
No moped, no speedboat.
No nothing. So no motorized vehicle.
You could ride your bike.
Or no video game of any kind.
Forever and
ever. Nate, what would you do? Short and sweet, please. These people don't want to be here all day.
I would go no gaming console. That would be because as long as tabletop is still available and board games and all that, I could get my fix through that, but I could not go without a motorized vehicle.
It's a good point. Didn't think about that till now. Brad?
100% with Nate. In today's world, you cannot live without at least being able to ride in a vehicle. If the condition was I couldn't operate but could ride in, then I would choose no vehicle. But the fact that we say you can't even ride in a motorized vehicle,
right.
Nope, that's gone. So yeah, I would get rid of my PC and consoles and be able to have my car.
Well, I don't want to make this a three-way tie.
Even though it is.
So I'm going to go with getting rid of a vehicle.
All right. So
and staying with video games.
Explain why.
Because, well, first of all, I'm married. Personal. Damn, you got me. So I just make her do it all the time. So, that's good. Because I can't do it. I can't do it. I'll die if I do it, right? We decided
you can't even go with her.
Yeah. So she'd have to go and do it. And then as far as work and stuff goes, I mean, I live close enough to where I could just get a job wherever or get a job online staying at home. But video games are it's all I do. I don't like TV. I don't like movies. I mean, without it, I would get board games is a good point. I could definitely with board games, but you got to play with people. Unless they all come over to your house or you have 1 million people there, how are you going to get anywhere to play board games? So, I don't know. I'm more with you guys, but I'm going to stick to my guns and say that's what I choose.
Okay.
Even though I don't, but I do. All right. Our next question, we're going to go back to Boot Hill because you guys are just super jiving for Boot Hill.
All right, so this one's for Nate.
This one's for Nate. Nathan, when we discovered Colonel Daughtry locked up in the cave, again, spoiler alert, if you've gotten this far and you haven't gotten past spoiler alert, I don't even know what you're doing here. Maybe you skipped ahead. Maybe you
Loser.
Yeah. Anyways, so when we found Colonel Daughtry locked up in the whole cave system,
okay,
we found him locked behind the door. We go in and we inspect him. He's in a gaze. This is before the mist and everything. The first time we found him, he's in a gaze. You stuck your dirty sock in his mouth. All sorts of terrible things happen.
Yeah.
My question is, why was the door locked? Both, completely locked, where he couldn't get in or out without the key. But yet we found no key. Nathan.
I guess this question's for me.
It is for Brad, but I want to hear Nate's answer first.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So initially, I was thinking that he was communicating. He was part of the ongoing darkness going throughout world to world, and he was communicating with the darkness we encountered in the D&D world.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, maybe that allowed the key transfer through that mental block or some type of portal opened up, and so that someone somewhere was jumping back and forth willy-nilly.
You know what? Since we're taking wild stabs, you want to know what I first thought when we first saw it? Because we kind of had a hunch that Stone was behind the whole thing. That was kind of the gist of what we got. Right? Yeah. So I thought that Stone basically put him in there and forced him into the gaze and then locked him in there so nobody else found him, and he had been in a gaze for a week or something. You know what I mean? He basically was he basically was got what he needed to be able to run the books himself to get to the money. And so he basically locked him paralyzed in this gaze to then take control of it and be sure that no one was going to deal with him. And then when he came and went, he would go in there, and that was what I initially thought. But Brad, what really happened?
All right. So, Greg, you're much closer.
Yay.
Yes, Garrett Stone was much more of in charge than Daughtry was. As you all know, the main bad guy in the end was Kevin Legrand.
Spoiler alert.
But Garrett Stone was basically his right hand, his number two, his muscle, his face, whatever.
Gross.
And Daughtry was sort of a front. Yes, Daughtry was part of it, and Daughtry was actually the communication point or the focal point of the Black Mist, the otherworldly entity that was involved. Daughtry was the communication device. The reason when you found the locked door, you opened the door, you got in, you saw him in the catatonic state, searched him, he had no key. The reason behind that is because the key was not on him, because if for some reason he came out of the gaze, Kevin Legrand and Garrett Stone did not want him to leave, because he was kind of being controlled in a way. As you found out from talking to him, he was basically just this
And seemed a little against his will.
Right, almost like hypnosis control. Forcibly got the tattoos and kind of zoned out, calling her, the power, the master, and all this stuff. Right. So yes, you didn't find a key on him because they put it in a place where they did not want him to be able to find it.
So it was in the cave somewhere.
It was correct.
All right.
So that Kevin Legrand or Garrett Stone could have access to it, but Colonel Daughtry could not.
All right, moving on to our next question. This one's from Big Wheelie _0_1240.
Underscore?
Nope. Come on,
damn.
man. That's not a real email address. He would like to know our shoe sizes.
Really? Okay.
Short and sweet. And we mean literally ask us anything. Nate?
My shoe size is 10.
Really? 10 and a half.
Yep.
10. Hey, Nate, can I borrow some shoes?
Yeah, dude, you guys can swap heels and stuff. So thank you for that question. All right. Our next question is from Nathan _Lewis.
What?
Hey.
He would like to know, I'm assuming it's a he, it's hard to say.
Yeah. With Nathan, is that
it
a girl's name?
It could be Nathina, I guess. Our favorite current as of
February 10th, 2019.
February 10th, 2019. Where the hell have you been? Our favorite current video game we're playing. Nate?
Ooh, that's a good question. Thank you, Nathia.
Okay. Let's go to Brad while Nathia thinks of that answer.
I think he knows that answer.
Yeah, no, I completely know it.
Yeah, that kind of.
My time at Porsche is
or Portia or.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Portia.
I have seen that.
However you say it,
Yep.
It's 3D Stardew Valley.
Yeah,
it is glorious. I've already sunk like 30 hours into it.
I did play it for about 20 minutes and thought it was awful and uninstalled it.
Yeah.
But Nate is into some crazy weird games. So
Hey, I like relaxing,
yeah.
chilled games where I just farm stuff. And
So let's talk about not relaxing. Brad, what's your game?
Yeah, I currently, I am a gameaholic. I am currently playing Revisited the Kerbal Space Program.
I'm familiar.
Yes, I have sunk 176 hours into that bad boy in the last 3 weeks. So
Jeez.
do the math.
how many hours is that a week?
Do the math. Almost 60 hours a week. So if I'm not eating, sleeping, or doing some sort of work, I'm playing that game. Actually, I'm doing that often whilst eating, sleeping, and doing other some other work. Kerbal Space Program. It's an older game, but with some of the re-ups they've done to it and modifications they've done to it, it is awesome. So.
Ironic you say, because I also was a little bit into Kerbal after doing my stream, which you can find on YouTube and our Facebook page.
And you should watch it. It's hilarious.
And you should watch it. It's hilarious because I'm awful at games. But I actually got back into Battlefield 4, which came out like 8 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, it's like a super old game, but for whatever reason, I rediscovered it, and there's still people that host servers, and I still play, and it's still a ton of fun. So I've been playing an older game as well, but Battlefield 4 for me.
Side note, one game that I really want to play but just haven't played yet is Apex Legends.
Oh, yeah, it just came out, yeah. It's supposed to be really, really good, really popular.
Yeah, no, everyone loves it right now, and I've been checking out some gameplay, and it looks great, and I can't wait.
When everyone finally hears this, it'll be a dead old game, but at least we referenced
Probably.
it. All right. We have one last question, and then we'll shut up until you turn us on again, I guess, and not in that way. All right. Last question is, what is our favorite burger joint? That's all I got for the question.
I love me a good burger.
We didn't really specify anything else. This person, didn't specify anything else.
Yeah, no, it's
either fast food or sit down.
Ooh,
you get
you
one
only get
burger
one,
joint.
you only get one.
I can only eat a hamburger from this place
Yep.
ever again. If I ever eat a hamburger, it's gotta
not
be
to
this
that.
place.
But if you had a choice above all, you would go there.
Okay. Mine's gonna be Fuddruckers.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. You love that place.
I love Fuddruckers. Half-pound, 3 cheese with onion rings and a
Ironically, because of the whole package, I'm going to go Five Guys.
Five Guys, huh?
I really enjoy Five Guys burgers. But because of our location, disclosed, it's a bit of a drive from where I'm at, but I really enjoy Five Guys. Yep.
Well, you just like everything about Five Guys.
Yeah, that's true. It's not the burgers.
You just like the 5 dudes hanging out behind.
See, the thing I like about Five Guys is their buns. You know what I mean? The way they sauce. Okay,
They like
let's
to squeeze.
Yeah,
them
let's stop. This is gonna get
warm.
so bad. Someone's gonna be listening to this. Their like daughter's gonna walk in the room. I'm talking about.
I like Fuddruckers. There
I'm
you go.
talking about nasty sauces on some Five Guys buns. All right, carry on, Nate.
All right, mine is a Walling Buck. It's
You can't just make stuff up.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that, and I'm here.
They're a food truck. They only work summers the last couple of years, and they just have gotten enough popularity behind them that they opened up a brick and mortar store down on Front Street.
Year round.
Yep, and they have the best burgers I have ever tasted.
What is it called?
Wally and Buck.
Well, that's going to be pretty specific enough. We are in Missoula, if you haven't figured that out.
Yeah,
yet.
all you have to do is Google that, and it'll be like
Missoula, Montana.
Missoula, Montana. So
down by the public library.
which I'm. That's not where we
That's
are.
not, we're not down there.
That's Wally.
I mean, we are.
We're on the corner.
We are. Yeah,
It's
we
cold.
we just hang out.
I'm inside.
That's why you can
right
hear
now,
car horns
eating a burger from
in the
them.
background. Yep. No, we are in Missoula. I'm okay with that. Missoula, Montana. We've been here a while.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a different question. But yeah, we've all been around here for not our whole lives. We're not natives. Actually, Nate, are you a native?
Nope.
Not a Native American. I should make that clear. Native to Missoula.
I look
No.
like it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So, anyways, that's going to conclude our January Q&A for the Fireside chat of January 2019. You can tell I'm confused.
Yeah.
We covered January.
In the February
In the
Fireside.
But it's
February
coming out in
Fireside chat.
February, so we're naming it February 2019.
Trust me, there was an extensive argument about this, and I lost.
Far too long.
Far
Yeah,
too
it's
long.
Far too long.
Anyways, you can find these monthly. We're going to try and release them on the 15th of each month and cover the previous month. They will be on our Patreon page from here on out. So if you made it all the way to the end and you were on Podbean, this is going to be the only one that's on Podbean, but you can find them on Patreon. And currently, I say currently because you never know when we'll change, it's $3 a month, and you get access to this. Plus, you also get special shout-out privileges and stuff on our Facebook page, and then some. If you have any questions, please submit them. Anything and everything. We want to hear from you guys. We want to answer all your questions. We want to know what you think about anything and everything.
Yep. Episode related or not.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it could be things going on in the world. As long as it's not controversial, we're more than happy to talk about it. And we will answer any question that is submitted. So if you think of one, even if you've listened to this, enjoyed it, and could just think of a good question because you want to put us in a corner and see if we claw our way out, we're more than happy to answer it, and then maybe eventually you'll get to hear it. So thanks again to everybody, and we'll be seeing you guys next month.
Yeah, thank you. We
Thanks,
look
guys.
forward to more questions.
Yeah, thanks, guys.